Hi, it's Taylor T. Carlson, and I'm back with another video for you. Today we're going to be taking a look at a minor 90s classic, Waterworld. This is a movie that's widely remembered, albeit probably for all the wrong reasons, namely its troubled production. The movie was reissued not long ago by Arrow Video, quickly becoming one of my favorite boutique labels for home video reissues. So let's go ahead and unbox this. Okay, right here we've got the set. Here's our cover art. There's everything that's inside. Back cover. There's the spine. And we'll go ahead and open this up now. Okay, now we've got everything out. So here's the front cover of the DVD case. This is actually reversible, as you can probably see right there. Has the same artwork as the front cover of the box, so I just wanted to reverse mine. Got the obligatory credits and movie descriptor on the back. Inside the case, got disc 1, that's the theatrical cut and the bonus features. Disc 2 has the television cut, and then disc 3's got the Ulysses cut. All right, we'll close that up, and we've also got these art cards that come with it. And then on the back, they've all got this same piece of artwork from the original poster. And there's also, this was just an ad for their release of RoboCop, just like an ad. And then on the back, it's got the covers of some other things that they've put out. The set also comes with this nice big booklet here. This has a ton of information, a lot of photos, stuff on the production, on the marketing. Here's even an ad for some of the old video games that were made. I think that was actually the only licensed game that was ever put out on the Virtual Boy, believe it or not. There's the inside the back cover. Then you also get a poster. I'm going to try to open this up the best I can. On one side here, you've got the original poster art from when the movie was released in theaters. And on the back, you've got a poster with the artwork of Arrow's more recent artwork. And that's basically everything you get inside the package. If you're not familiar with the story of Waterworld, the movie revolves around a future in which the polar ice caps have melted and the water level has risen drastically to the point that dry land is just a myth. The main character is simply known as the Mariner, and he's played by Kevin Costner, who goes from atoll to atoll on his watercraft, encountering dangerous pirates, traders, and basically all manner of people along the way. During his visit to one of the atolls where he's doing some trading, he ends up getting into some trouble, and there's an attack from the Smokers, an evil organization of pirates headed up by the Deacon, played by Dennis Hopper. He manages to get away from his fate here, teaming up with Helen, a girl who previously had run the shop in the atoll, as well as Enola, a young girl that had been adopted by Helen. Enola has a mysterious tattoo on her back, which may have something to do with the pathway to dry land, and this, of course, means the Smokers are interested in getting their hands on her as well. Obviously, the Mariner, used to being by himself, is not too happy about having to take on 2 extra hands on his boat, and they definitely clash at first, although over time they develop a bond of sorts. But will the Smokers end up getting their hands on Enola? And will anybody eventually manage to find dry land? Waterworld, when it first came out, it was all over the tabloids and the news shows and everything just because it had gone so far over budget. There was a lot of clashing between star Kevin Costner and director Kevin Reynolds, and so much had just gone wrong behind the scenes. When this was released, it was actually the most expensive movie ever made, and it took a lot of bashing. However, I think a lot of the bashing centered at this film actually revolves around the troubled production and the news stories revolving around that rather than the movie itself. I've got to say, the movie itself is not bad. as long as you come in here not expecting Oscar material and a work of art. Essentially, this is a big budget B movie. It's more or less Mad Max on the high seas, and for what it's worth, it's actually a pretty enjoyable, over-the-top sci-fi experience. Despite what could largely be considered a B-movie nature, I mean, Kevin Costner actually gives a pretty solid performance. His role here being pretty cold and heartless initially to those that he works with, but warming up to him. He's kind of similar to Wolverine from the X-Men movies, and of course, the man with no name from the westerns of old. I thought this was a great hero for Costner to play, and he pulls the part off very well. Costner's always been a very good actor, and he also produced the film as well, and the only person in this film who completely outclasses Costner would have to be the villainous Deacon, played by the late, great Dennis Hopper. Hopper is one of those guys. He can be excellent in any film he's in, even if the film itself is terrible. He's just an over-the-top villain in this, chewing up the scenery in every single scene that he's in. Whether you see him wreaking havoc on an atoll or having to get a fake eye to replace one that was destroyed during an ill-fated smoker attack, this guy is an absolute riot here. Hard to believe it's been a decade since we lost him, because I would love to have seen him play this part or revisit it in some manner. Other co-stars include Jean Triplehorn as Helen, who ends up going with the mariner on his boat, and the two of them forge a bond of sorts, and Tina Majorino, who at the time was just a little girl, playing Enola. And they're both very good in these parts. Seeing the relationship of these two and the relationship they have with the mariner is definitely one of the highlights of the film, even if he comes off as pretty crude and crass towards them at first. Triplehorn is the one who keeps him in line and does an excellent job of it, and Majorino is fantastic as Enola, the spunky, spirited young girl who's got the tattoo on her back, which may hold some clues to the path to dry land, even if it still exists. And this cute little girl isn't afraid to speak her mind to the big bad mariner, and later in the film, even to the Deacon, and it just makes me love her character that much more. There's also a few great supporting performances from the co-stars as well. Be on the lookout for Jack Black in one of his earliest movie roles as a smoker pilot, and the movie also includes Michael Jeter, who would later appear with Kevin Costner in Open Range in 2003, which would be Jeter's final film as he died prior to the film being released. The set designs and vehicle designs, with something of a post-apocalyptic look to them in this flooded world, are definitely a highlight. Naturally, there were a lot of problems with production, but a lot of what they did here actually looks very good, and I was impressed how a lot of these sets turned out. If you come into Waterworld expecting Oscar material, an art house film, something that's well-produced, artistic, and is going to have you contemplating the meaning of life, you're going to walk away sorely disappointed. But if you come in here and you've got a soft spot for guilty pleasure, over-the-top B-movies that are completely and utterly ridiculous but enjoyable nonetheless, Waterworld is certainly going to be your film. As you saw during my unboxing, this release has 3 discs. One for the theatrical cut and bonus features, one for the extended TV cut, and one for the Ulysses cut, which is basically the extended TV cut that reincorporates the previously censored PG-13 footage. As far as picture quality goes, this looks far better than Universal's earlier Blu-ray disc release of the film, that master, of course, being much older, and Arrow usually goes all out when it comes to delivering good picture quality on their releases, and it's nice to see that Waterworld has actually fared pretty well. I have read some things regarding, the color timing and things like that, but again, I'm not a historian about this movie to the extent that I can tell you about every little aspect of the production, but to me, this actually looked very good, and the audio fares just as well. Disc 1, like I had said, includes some bonus features. There's a documentary that's nearly 2 hours long, pretty comprehensive on the production of the movie, and that's definitely the highlight to be experienced here, as well as a pair of lesser supplements, including a look back at disaster movies. That's also a lot of fun to watch. There's also a handful of photos, trailers, TV spots, and any fan of the movie who wants to go back and revisit things will definitely get a kick out of what they find here. And as you saw in my earlier unboxing segment of this review, there's also a double-sided poster included, as well as a booklet that's got a ton more information to go along with it. In addition to Arrow reissuing the film, Universal Studios also released it as a 4K release as well, and I got the exclusive Best Buy Steelbook of that version. The front, of course, has the artwork from Enola's tattoo. Here's the spine. Back cover has the Smeat can on it. And then here's the discs. Inside the front cover, of course, you got the Mariner. And then you take the discs off. And, of course, you have the Deacon. Universal's 4K disc of Waterworld actually looks pretty damn good. Being a 4K disc with the HDR treatment and everything, it definitely gets a slight uptick even from the Arrow 1080p Blu-rays being reviewed here. However, aside from the uptick in picture quality, Arrow's transfer and disc package wins in almost every other way. The Universal release has no bonus features other than the extended TV cut, which is only available in 1080p and not in 4K. It also includes a Blu-ray copy of the film, but that is just the older release of the film, which was never very impressive to begin with. And I think there's a trailer on there, but that's about it. So even though the 4K transfer is very good, I still have to give the Arrow package the overall recommendation here. Although if you're a diehard fan of Waterworld, why not just buy both? Once again, I stress that Waterworld is not a work of art, but is a schlocky, big-budget B-movie with some fantastic performances and Dennis Hopper at his absolute over-the-top best. I think people who come in with a soft spot for B-movies and guilty pleasures will definitely get a lot of enjoyment out of what they find here. Obviously, the movie hasn't aged the best in some regards, and a lot of the naysayers who complained about the production and all the behind-the-scenes drama back in the day certainly weren't wrong, but I think a lot of them were failing to actually review the movie itself, which can be pretty entertaining to the right people. Have you seen Waterworld? Have you had a chance to pick up Arrow Video's reissue or Universal's 4K release of the film? Comment down below and let me know what you think. Also, remember to subscribe to my channel for more reviews, and like this video if you found it helpful. I'm Taylor T. Carlson, and I will see you in my next movie review.